This video is a bit different from the content that I normally produce on mental health. However, it is still very much connected to the issues that we discuss on this platform. Today, I come to you as a Grenadian woman, as a trained facilitator to address gender-based violence, and as a woman who has experienced varying degrees of inappropriate behavior from men. The recent heinous acts of sexual violence and domestic violence on our island, though not new, has shook me to the core. And I must admit that it took me a while before I felt like I could speak about these issues. And though I believe that as a people we have a responsibility to hold our government and the judicial system accountable, as women, we also have a responsibility to do as best as we can to protect ourselves. And so the information that I'm going to share today is from my personal experiences as a woman and as a mental health practitioner, so that we as women can continue to protect ourselves. On the job, do as best as you can to set physical boundaries with persons of the opposite sex, because porous boundaries tends to communicate an openness that could be dangerous. Also, if there are interactions or physical touch that makes you uncomfortable, any interaction that makes you uncomfortable, don't rationalize it away. Don't say that's our culture. Talk about it. Say something to a supervisor, because if it makes you uncomfortable, then it's not okay. And I also urge you to keep records of every conversation that you have with the persons that are supposed to protect you, like your supervisors. And whether or not you decide to make a report, if you think that's warranted, keep records, email records of conversations that you had with supervisors. For example, let's say you had a conversation with a supervisor about something that made you uncomfortable on the job, with somebody on the job. You can follow up with an email saying that this is an email correspondence detailing the conversation that you and I had earlier today. And so that you have records just in case you need them later on. Another thing that you can do is to empower yourself by taking a self-defense course. That's something that I did, and I don't regret doing that. Taking a self-defense course could only help you to defend yourself when it is necessary. Also, for those persons who are holders of license for a legal firearm, you should consider getting some legal firearm training to ensure that you can protect yourself in the event that something does happen. Find an appropriate self-defense tool. It doesn't have to be something big or bulky, but just something that you can easily access if you need it. So for example, I use a tactical light that I have with me all the time. A tactical light, what it does is that when you shine it in a perpetrator's eyes, they lose their sight for a couple seconds, and that gives you an opportunity to escape. You don't have to use a tactical light. You can use spray paint that is difficult to come off, so that helps in identifying somebody who has assaulted you in any way after the fact. You can use a monkey impact ball. I'm going to probably try and link one of those in the caption so that persons can also see what that looks like. Avoid walking alone in lonely places or desolate areas. And it doesn't have anything to do with you being scared. It is just not wise, because we are more vulnerable to being attacked or ending up in some kind of situation that warrants us to protect ourselves. And so please, day or night, it doesn't matter. Don't walk alone in lonely areas or in desolate areas. Also, ensure that wherever you are going, that somebody knows where you are, when you're going, when you arrive, when you're leaving. And that has nothing to do with trust, but you ensuring that you have a safety plan in place just in case something happens. Somebody knows, okay, I didn't hear from her, to reach out. Something must be wrong. Something's off here. Here I want to big up the RGPF. Because a number of years ago, I was coming out of a community that's extremely lonely later one evening, and I felt like it wasn't wise for me to come out of that community alone. And so I phoned the nearest police station, told them where I was, told them what I needed, and without any hesitation, they sent a police officer who escorted me out of that community and took me to the bus terminal where I was able to get a bus home. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. I appreciated that so much, and I know that you guys continue to do everything that you can to protect us as women on this island. Something that I've also done is to stay on the phone with somebody. If I find that a situation is skeptical, that I'm in an environment where I feel a little bit uneasy, I call someone. Can you keep me company on the phone until I get out of this particular area? And so you can also try that and see if that also helps for you. It's important to develop some level of situational awareness. So you ensure that you assess your environment whenever you enter a room, so that you can spot threats long before something ever happens. If you are lost or you're in an unfamiliar place, don't make that known, because that knowledge makes you vulnerable. So you try as best as possible to be as confident as you can be until you figure out what it is you need to do, where you are, or a way out of that situation. And my final point to all of us as women is to become an advocate. Become an advocate against all forms of violence against women and girls. We are stronger together. When women come together, when we huddle together and we pull our resources together, we can get so much more done. I think it was John F. Kennedy who popularized the quote, "The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing." As women, we can do something. So share this video with the people in your life who can benefit from it. And thanks so much for watching. I'm Neela Phillip, licensed clinical community psychologist. I'll see you guys in our next video.